Hello there, how are you? Welcome to the 32nd episode of the 3 a.m. Knitter podcast. My name is Anne and I am coming to you from the North Shore of Nova Scotia, Canada. And today I am away from home, but just a little further north, doing some house sitting and dog sitting on Caribou Island, Nova Scotia. So from where I'm sitting today in front of this big, beautiful window, I can see the ocean out there. It's a lovely place to be, and it's a beautiful sunny day today, even though it is a little bit chilly. Well, actually, my watch says it's 7 degrees Celsius, but it's a little windy, so it feels a little bit cooler out there. So the background is going to look a little bit different. You might hear a dog in the background at some point, but there we go. Okay, so let's jump right in with regular housekeeping as I do every episode. So you can find me on Instagram as 3 a.m. Knitter. I'm also on Facebook as the 3 a.m. Knitter. You can find me there. I have a Ravelry group. Guess what it's called? It's called the 3 a.m. Knitter. I know, crazy, right? And there is a variety of things going on in the Ravelry group. So feel free to go over there and join. And you can find me there as well as the 3 a.m. Knitter. Website, the3amknitter.weebly.com. This is where you're going to find the most recent information about Sock Club, about when the circle opens for membership, about upcoming workshops. You can buy my patterns there if you don't use Ravelry. And in the next month, so in the month of May, I will be launching the blog portion of the website. So watch for posts about that. I'm going to try and blog relatively regularly. Maybe once a week is going to be the ultimate goal. But of course, there may be a little bit of deviation from that depending on what my schedule looks like. But watch for that new thing. You can reach me by email or snail mail. All that information is down below in the description box. And of course, I have my monthly newsletter that you can subscribe to. I do send out a small newsletter at the beginning of each month. And it includes things like when the episodes of the podcast are coming up, if there's new pattern releases, and any other goings on that I would like you to know about. Okay, so a few announcements. The 2024 East Coast Sock Club, which launched a little while ago. There's one pattern already out. That's the Atlantic Breeze Socks. Do I have a copy of that pattern here? If you have not, I do. If you have not seen the Atlantic Breeze socks yet, you can follow the hashtag on Instagram, hashtag Atlantic Breeze socks, or you can pop over to Ravelry and you can see them there. So these are, this pattern is the first of 4 that is included in the 2024 East Coast Sock Club. It's a great little cuff down, heel flapping gusset construction, easy instruction to follow. There's nothing fancy in it. It is suitable for beginner sock makers and more experienced sock makers alike. But the exciting news is that the next pattern, the Maple Harbor socks, will be being released on June the 15th. So look forward to that. Now, I know it sounds like June is a far way away or far off, but it really isn't, because we are almost in May. So we've got about 6 weeks before that next pattern comes out. So if you are, if you're game to jump on board with the 2024 East Coast Sock Club, it's not too late. You can go over to the website, or there's a link in my Instagram feed where you can jump into my stand store and you can purchase the Sock Club, at which point you'll immediately get the Atlantic Breeze pattern because it's already been released, and then you will be in line to get the next 3 patterns that are coming out. So for those of you who are not aware, I'm should have been a little better prepared here with all of this myriad of paperwork. So the Maple Harbor socks come out on the 15th of June. The Lighthouse Lace socks come out September 15th, and the Frosty Wharf socks come out December the 15th. So it's a year-long sock club. 4 patterns are included. And yeah, get yourself on over to the website and check it out, okay? Or you can follow the link on my Stan store on Instagram. Okay, what else do I have to let you know? Workshop coming up. Wednesday, May the 29th, I am going to be hosting a virtual Design Your Own Sweater Using the Percentage Method workshop. So this is going to be a couple-hour workshop, but 1.5 to 2 hour workshop where we're going to come together. There's a little bit of homework that is required prior to the start of the workshop in order to get the most out of our time together. So this is where we're going to take an existing sweater that we own, for example, the one that I'm wearing today, and then you use pen and paper and a gauge swatch and a calculator, and you figure out the exact number of stitches that you need to cast on, the exact number of stitches you need for your arms, your neck, the length, etc., etc., etc. And it uses a percentage method. So this is very popular in designing Gansey sweaters and things like that. It's a great technique to learn. If you are interested in learning that, there is a registration in both on both the website and on my Stan store on Instagram, and you can pop on over and get yourself registered. So it's important that you don't leave it too late because there is homework that needs to be done. Now, the homework is you have to knit a gauge swatch, and I know, but you have to knit a gauge swatch. It's one of the most important parts of this workshop. And then you also have to find a sweater in your wardrobe, whether it's a knitted sweater or it is a sweatshirt or it is anything along these lines. So for example, I would use this sweater that I'm wearing today, even though this is a commercially made sweater, because I love the way it fits. The sleeves are just slightly a bit, they're slightly a bit too long, which means, when I'll use this one, I can pull them down over my hand. But they're nice and loose. The armholes, as you can see, my armpit is, say, here. There's some room in the arms, so it's not too tight. It's also not hanging down towards my waist. The neckline sits nicely on my body. It is a bit of a drop shoulder here, and of course, well, you can't really see, but the length is perfect. The length goes just below my hip. So it's very comfortable, it doesn't ride up. So it's important that for this workshop, you find a sweater that is already in your wardrobe that you love the fit of, because we're going to use that and the gauge swatch and the percentage system in order to create your own schematic for knitting your own sweater. So I would love to have you join me for this workshop. We're doing it virtually on Zoom in the 3 a.m. Knitter Zoom room, and you'll see all the information about it in the link. So get yourself signed up for that, and we'll see you at the workshop. Okay, so that's enough of all of that. Let us now jump in to works in progress. I have no FOs this episode because I've been a bit all over the place with knitting. So let's get on to the works in progress. So my 2024, hashtag 2024 socks from stash. I am still working on my April socks, and this is the project that I'm working on this year, where I'm knitting 12 pairs of socks this year, 1 per month, and I had to already own the pattern in my Ravelry library or in a book that I already own, and I have to knit from stash. So this month I am knitting the Tin Can Knits Torrent Socks. So really nice lacy pattern. And of course it's tin can knits, so you can't go wrong. I am knitting these in Alchemy, a little piece of my yarn, Dolce Glitter Sock in the Dorothy's Slipper colorway. Pardon me. And my cable is caught on another ball of yarn, as you can see. So because I am dog sitting and I am not in my own studio, I've got like 3 or 4 bags of knitting, and I just kind of shoved some stuff in. Oh yeah, it's a mess. Okay, so this is the Dorothy's Slipper colorway in the glitter. I don't know if you can see the glitter, but there's a little bit of pop in there. And I have finished the heel. I'm on the foot of the first sock. So yes, I am behind. This is true. There we go. All right. So let me see if I can, I don't know if you can see that. I mean, I can see it up close, but so you can see that the pattern is, it'll be much better when it's blocked. It's hard to pick up on the screen. A lot of yarn overs, a lot of knit 2 together, slip, slip, knit stitches, things like that. It is not a difficult pattern. What I did do though is I did make an error, and I didn't notice it until I was halfway down the leg, and I decided to say, oh well, what the heck, I'm gonna leave it. The instructions in the pattern clearly read that you are to, is it to knit 2 together or slip, slip, knit through the back loop? One or the other. Anyway, I didn't, maybe it was knit 2 together through the back loop. I didn't do that. I just knit 2 together. But because I was already halfway down the leg, I wasn't pulling back. So is my texture going to be a little bit different than in the pattern? Sure it is. But you know what? They're socks, right? So tin can knits, tin can knits. Again, you can't go wrong with a tin can knits pattern. Yeah, I'm really liking it. So like I say, I am, you know, this far done the foot. So maybe another couple of inches, and then I can do the toe, and then I can get that second sock casted on and knit. Because of course, you know, where are we at now? April 27th. And I'm behind. Oh well. You know, I was behind on March, I'm behind on April. So maybe May is my month to get caught up. What do you think? And then speaking of May, my my May socks that I have on plan here are, I've got the pattern right here. I had the pattern right here. There they are. So my May choice was the Ripple Wave Socks by Kate Lori. So that is in there. Here's another. Yeah, so another kind of lacy, almost looks like a reminiscent of a feather and fan kind of pattern. Anyhow, so those are my May socks, and I am going to be knitting those out of this kind of, I'm on a glitter kick apparently, because this has got glitter in it. I have lost the tag for this, and I didn't really take a good look on my Ravelry stash to see if I actually put it in there, but it's a fingering weight. I'll see how it starts up, and hopefully it works out for these socks. So that's what's on tap for May, for my 12 pairs, hashtag 12 pairs in 12 months, or hashtag 2024 socks from stash. Now, I know that we're moving into May, but if you would like to join in on the fun, you can pop over to the 3 a.m. Knit a Ravelry group and you can start participating. So what I'm trying to do is have a thread for every month, and you're just going to post your finished socks in there. There's a thread where you can post your plans. So you can go ahead and just post for the rest of the year if you want and play along. And then, when you get your socks finished, post on Instagram if you use Instagram, or post on Facebook, whatever you prefer, and use the hashtags, hashtag 2024 socks from stash, or hashtags 12 pairs in 12 months, and just play along. So there are prizes. For the first quarter, so for January, February, March. So people who participate and complete socks for each quarter. Now I know we're moving into May, but if I'm going to trust that you're going to go along with the rules. If you started a pair of socks in April and you finish them, get them into the April thing. I'll let you do that. And then do your May socks and your June socks. So at the end of each quarter, I draw for a random draw for a prize. So the last winner was our friend Ellen, and I was so thrilled to send her a framed print from an amazing Nova Scotia designer who is a mixed media artist, and she makes these beautiful cards, and they're all kind of knitting related. Her name is Gigi, and let me see if I can bring her up here just quickly. Where would she be? I was just looking at her a minute ago. Falling Acorn Studio. She's in Martins Point, Nova Scotia. And just as an example, let me just pull up one of her. Oh, so I think this is the one that I sent to Ellen. It says, "Shh, I'm counting." So she does prints like this and cards and all those kinds of things. Pardon me, so sorry. And I have purchased a number of them, and I love them so much. I just want to give them away as prizes. I'm tempted to keep them myself. Look at this one. It says "one more row." Isn't that amazing? And the little dresses here are patterns. They're old patterns. You can read them. Like it says, "Loosely bind off remaining stitches, finishing with beige, sew along the knit it with zigzag edge," those kinds of things. So Falling Acorn Studios. So I will link to her in the show notes for you if you are interested in following her on Instagram, or even maybe purchasing some of her beautiful art. Okay, so that is my sock whips. The next thing that I am working on is the Stormbay Shawl. So I've talked about this before. I am in a knit along kind of book club on Ravelry, and every 2 months we vote on a book and we read the book, and then we are responsible for choosing a pattern, a project. I think it has to be minimum of 100 grams of yarn. And it has to somehow relate to the book that we're reading. And it's up to us to determine how it relates, whether it relates by name or by theme or by color or whatever. As long as we can justify it, it's good to go. So I had, we were reading The Hunting Party and for March and April, and I had originally chosen the Friendship Shawl, which was a Malabrigo pattern, and it was not a hard pattern. I started knitting it with Stash DK, Frankie Gray Fiber Stash DK, and it wasn't the pattern, it was me. I couldn't count. I kept making mistakes time and time again, and I'd have to rip it back. And then every little while there was a color change, and I just, nope. And so finally I got to the realization that this was not bringing me joy and I was not going to knit it. So I tore it out. I ripped it out. And then I picked up the Stormbay Shawl. So, oh, I don't have it printed. I know. That's crazy. So, this is a pattern by Lisa Much, and it's a garter stitch shawl, as you can see. And the sample here is in 4 colors. Is it 4? 5 colors, excuse me. There is a gray down at the bottom here. So you can see the first section is garter stitch. And then when you move into the colors, it almost moves into this kind of, again, feathery fan kind of idea. And so I dug through my stash and thought, you know what, this is going to be a great project. I cast it on right away and I've made some good progress on it. So in the book club, as long as you start the project within the 2 months of the book, so in this case, March and April, you're fine as long as you've started it, but you must have it finished before the end of the year. So I've got, is this the front? No, this is the back. I've got the first section done, and I have 3 more repeats of the second section to do. You can see that it's starting to get that wave in it. And it's a really, really enjoyable knit, and it's so squishy, right? So the colors that I chose is, I had them all in stash. So this here is leftover Frankie Gray Fiber DK, and it's in the Sand Dollar colorway. So this is the same yarn that I made my field sweater out of. So I had leftover, so I'm using that. And then this first blue is again Frankie Gray Fibers, and it's in Delphinium. Is it Delphinium? I think it's Delphinium. I get these two mixed up, but anyways. And then the next color that I'm going to add on, again, is a Frankie Gray Fibers in Cape Cod. We got that and that. And then I have some superwash here in, I'm calling this Denim. There is no color name on it, but I'm calling it Denim. And then I didn't have any darker blue. Now I do have some darker blue DK left over from Frankie Gray Fibers, but not enough for this. So I found this superwash DK in my stash. Now I know that it's probably hard to see it here, but this is almost, it is a warm beige, but it's marled. It's got blues and red, and so basically once I put it next to the blue, it's going to pick up the blue. So I'm going to try that for the last section. I might do a quick swatch just to see what it looks like. But I think that is going to make a fabulous shawl for sitting out by the fire at night. The pattern is very easy, so you're following the pattern on the right side, and then you're knitting back on the wrong side. It's a very simple pattern to memorize, and because it is DK, and I'm knitting it on size 5 Chai Goose, 5 millimeter US 8s. And yeah, so it's got increases in the center. It's a great pattern. So check that out. Stormbay by Lisa Much, Mutch. I think, bear with me just one sec. I think it's a free pattern. Sorry, I should have been a little more organized, but projects, I think it's a free pattern. Book Club Shawl. It's not. It's not a free pattern. $6 US, $8.56 Canadian. Or you can get an ebook that has 4 patterns in it for $15 US. So here is just a little bit of a close-up of what that textured, let me do it that way. Oh, no, not that way. What that textured part is going to look like. So, you know, it's going to need a good blocking and then it's going to look great. I'm quite certain. So that is my other work in progress. And then I was so, you guys know that I was so excited to cast on the Agave sweater. And I've been holding off, but because, you know, I'm here pet sitting and house sitting, last night I was just trying, it was my first night here and I was trying to get settled and, you know, you don't know the sounds of the house and it's very remote out here. So once night falls, you know, you can't see the ocean and there's nobody. There's no lights, there's no cars. So, you know, I was feeling a little bit uneasy. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put down the shawl so I'm not following anything. I was watching comedy shows on the TV and I thought, let's just do some knitting, period, just to keep my hands busy. So I was reading through the Agave pattern. So you will recall it's this layering piece that I am going to be casting on. And I thought, you know what, part of the instruction reads, and I will read it to you here. It is important to check your gauge correctly. Well, we all know that. So the finished measurement will not change after it's worn. Now, because this is a very large, oversized piece, I don't want it to be too oversized. And so the instructions read to cast on 20 stitches and work in stockinette for 26 rows. Wet the swatch, squeeze as much water out as you can, stretch it aggressively, and then straighten the 4 sides of the swatch using blocking wires. Keep the wires intact and let it dry. Remove the wires after it's dried. Let the swatch relax before measuring, and then measure your gauge at the center of the gauge swatch, not over the whole gauge swatch. So I knit up the gauge swatch using the needles called for in the pattern, which were 5.5 millimeter. 5.5 millimeter. Here's my fabric. I have not blocked it yet, so I'm going to do that after I record. It feels beautiful, and you will recall, because I think I talked about this on the last episode, that this is the, oh, there's the puppy. This is the yarn that I bought when I went away on retreat in March. And I bought that at Sisterhood Fibres in Truro, Nova Scotia. So this is Mirasol Winku, and it is in the colorway 13. It's natural. So this is 85% cotton and a 15% silk. It's a thick and thin yarn, as you can see. So it's got a beautiful texture. The feel of this is already beautiful, and I'm quite certain it will soften up after blocking. So I'm hoping that I have gauge. I am usually pretty darn good at getting gauge with the called for needles and yarn, or called for needles, but this is not the called for yarn. So fingers crossed that all goes well there. So I have not cast on yet, but I am doing the gauge swatch, and I'll let you know how I make out with that. So I'm excited about that. Okay, what is next on my needles? One of my circle members recommended, I think I may have also told you about this one before, recommended this free pattern to our group called the Autumn Leaves Linier Top. So this is a pattern by Cloud Forest Studio. It is a free pattern, and it's a top that is basically, let me just get to this picture here. So it's two rectangles. You can see that the one has a beautiful lace detail, and then this looks to me like a different type of lace detail with a picot. Well, both edges have like a picot kind of blocking or picot edging. It might not be picot, it might just be the way it's blocked. So basically you're knitting two rectangles and you're sewing them together and making a neck hole. And it's like a shawl it's a poncho, shawl show. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. I am absolutely holding my breath to cast this on because I want this piece. I want this piece for sitting out by the fire, for sitting at my desk, even like on a rainy day when it gets damp and cool, those kinds of things. And I gifted myself new yarn from the lovely Fleurange Apparel from Sarnia, Ontario. So she just launched First Blooms collection of hand dye. And I selected her daffodil colorway, and it arrived yesterday, Friday. Would you just look at that? Isn't that a thing to behold? Yellow is my favorite color, so I mean, of course, I am all gaga over it. But this yarn, the tone in it is just beautiful, and I think that it is going to knit up into this kind of layered poncho shawl to be a thing of beauty. It is 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon, so it will wear well. Each of these skeins is 400 meters. And I wish you could feel this. It is so incredibly soft. I just want to sit and touch it. So I do want to cast this on, but I'm trying to decide, do I want to cast this on first because it would be a relatively simple knit. It really is just stockinette and then the lace pattern, which to me looks very simple. It's a diamond lace pattern. So I'm deciding what I want to do. Like I say, I just got this yarn yesterday, so we'll see. I will link to her Etsy shop down below. She has some gorgeous colorways. And if you know me, if you want to support Canadian makers, Canadian dyers, small batch dyers, this is one for you to support. She does beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work. Follow her on Instagram, give her some love. I think that you will be pleasantly surprised at her lovely work. So that is one of my acquisitions. And then, let's see, so that is next, yes. Then I also, because today, I'm recording on Saturday, even though this is not going to be uploaded until tomorrow, Sunday. Today, of course, is LYS, local yarn store day, right? And so my LYS, Natural Ewe Yarns in Pictou, Nova Scotia, had a sale. Of course they did. But of course, I didn't buy anything that was on sale. I bought stuff that wasn't on sale, but that's okay. So you'll remember, I think, if you follow me on Instagram, I was posting about their Clementine colorway. And it's another colorway that I am just gaga for. Let me see if I can bring it up here just to show you. It's not going to look the best on the screen, of course, but it'll give you an idea. So, oh, I didn't spell it right. Clementine, there we go. So I bought fingering weight. I bought 2 skeins, so 800 meters. I wanted the picture to be, oh, for heaven's sake, I just closed it. Clementine, there we go. So I bought the 2 skeins, and I'll show you what I've decided to knit with it. Let me get to one of the great photos of it here. I hope that it is this beautiful orange that I think is going to be absolutely perfect for the summer. Oh, it's so beautiful. So I bought the 2 skeins, like I say, of fingering weight. And what I have decided, after all is said and done, I am going to knit. I'm on a tin can knits kick lately. I don't know. Let me get to my library to find the sweater, because I have the pattern. Tin can knits. Oops. Advanced search. All right. It doesn't want to go here, so I will go here. Stormbay. No. Jeez Louise. Should have been a little more organized for you. There it is. So I have decided to knit the Tin Can Knits Low Tide. You will, of course, recognize this, I'm quite certain, if you have knit for any amount of time. So Tin Can Knits are, of course, amazing because they're in multiple sizes. That's a close-up of the yoke. Isn't that beautiful? So I thought that this would be a really super little accessory to add to my wardrobe. And I think that Clementine colorway will be beautiful. I can wear it over sundresses. I can wear it with jeans and a tank top or shorts, skirts, you get the idea. So that is what I'm planning on knitting with the new Natural Ewe Yarns Clementine Fingering. I'm really looking forward to picking that up. Of course, I can't pick it up today because I am on Caribou Island, but I will pick it up probably at knit night when we go to knit night. So there we go. So that is what is up. I'm very excited to give these new projects a go. And now that the weather is getting beautiful, you know, it just, how perfect is it that we can go sit outside? At least here in Canada, we can start to sit outside and knit and just enjoy the beautiful weather again. So very excited for that. All right. So I have one pattern that I wanted to share with you, and this is one of my dream knits. So I've been talking to you lately about dream knits, and I have it right here. Oh, shoot. I closed it. There it is. So this is an older pattern. It was released in 2022, but it just came across my radar. This is called the Kyoto sweater, and it is by Anne Hermeling. And it is knit in lace weight. Let me just bring it up here. Now you can see that in the example it is color blocked, beautiful V-neck, beautiful lightweight piece that would be fabulous to wear, again, over dresses, over casual jeans, or shorts or skirts or anything like that. It looks like it's knit on a bigger needle. Actually, no, it's knit on 3.5 and 4 millimeter needles. Let's see what it says here. I'm getting down to the English version. It's a bottom-up sweater with a boxy fit, simple seamless construction. Feel free to add or subtract length and the armhole depth so it's more custom fit. The pattern is detailed for stripes in 4 colors. It could easily be made in a solid color or a different stripe pattern, of course. Sweater is worked bottom up, starting with the hem. The body is worked in the round until the divide for the sleeves, and then the front and the back are worked flat, and the shoulders are finished with a 3-needle bind off. Then you pick up the sleeves for the armholes, and the sleeves are worked in the round down to the cuffs. So you can easily make adjustments. It is an easy pattern. It does only come in 4 sizes, ranging from a finished bust size of 38.5 inches to 60 inches. I guess that's not bad because it is bigger and boxier fit. Choose the size by adding the recommended positive ease of 8 to 16 inches for your bust. The gauge is 16 stitches and 25 rounds for 10 centimeters or 4 inches in stockinette in the round on 4 millimeter needles, unstretched and unblocked. So the sample was knit in Drops Kids silk, unicolor mohair silk. It's beautiful. It calls for lace weight, 541 to 827 meters. So you could get away with 2 or 3 skeins if you have something like that in your stash, or if you wanted to buy something new. It wouldn't be that expensive of a project. I think it's a great sweater. It is certainly one that I would like to have in my closet. So that's kind of my dream knitting. All right, friends, Knitter's Tarot. Now, in my haste to pack and get out the door, I forgot my tarot deck, or my oracle deck. So what I am going to do instead is I have my book of explanations here. So I am going to scroll without looking and stop on a page, and that will be our Knitter's Oracle card for today. So there we go. So I'm just going to scroll back and forth and stop. And I stopped on the lamb. The lamb. Let's see what the lamb has to say. What could be sweeter than a little lamb? The lamb can be read akin to the tarot's fool, but with even more of a childlike bent. It's the card of a naive beginner, of tackling a fresh start with an open mind, of innocence and youth, and of a sense of play. When this card comes up, it could represent an actual child or childlike person in your life, or it could be calling you to tap into your own beginner's luck mindset and welcome a sense of wonder and lightheartedness about your situation. The Lamb. Tackling a fresh start with an open mind. Yeah. That's kind of what I feel like with my agave, because, my little swatch here, I'm using materials that are not called for in the pattern. Am I following the instructions? Well, so far, but we'll see. We'll see. Tackling a fresh start with an open mind. So, I don't know. Is it really a fresh start with an open mind? Well, I guess it kind of is, because you know what? I haven't made a decision on the sleeves. I still don't know if this gauge is going to work. I don't know if this fabric is going to work. What if I get gauge and I want the fabric to be a little more open? Yeah, we'll see. The other thing that's coming to my mind is my beautiful daffodil yarn. Going forward with these projects with that childlike mind. I can't tell you the excitement that this brings me, this yarn. It makes me so happy, this color and the softness. So maybe that's what the lamb is all about, is getting back to that joy of your supplies. Not even the finished product, but just the happiness that having the yarn to make a beautiful project brings you. Yeah, sometimes we need just to remember that there is beauty in just the things we use to create, not just the creation. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. Okay, friends, so I encourage you to watch for the registration link on Instagram, on the website. I'll also include it in the May 1st newsletter for the Design Your Sweater workshop using the percentage method. I hope that lots of you will come out and join me in the 3 a.m. Knitter Zoom room for that. Remember that you can still get on board with the 2024 East Coast Sock Club. Next pattern is due to come out in about 6 weeks. So I'm looking forward to writing that up and getting that out to all of you who have already purchased the 2024 Sock Club. So I hope that you have a great rest of your day. I hope that you're getting some knitting done and you're taking some time for yourself. Get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather if it is nice where you are. And I will talk to you very soon. That's all for now. Keep knitting.